get a quick word in about Liverpool, really. I know it's always quiet with Liverpool in the summer, G. But you're linked with a few players. Doucoure at Palace, you're being quoted 80 million. Paulinho, you're being quoted a lot of money. But you're letting a big bit of experience go in Henderson. And Fabinho, it looks like he's going to go as well. Like, what's your take on that? Is that the right decision from Liverpool? And who do you need to go and buy to ensure you've got the right quality and leadership for the start of the season?
I think in the second part of your question about the quality, well, the leadership side, I don't think that's a major thing. We have leadership in the squad already. We've got quality in the squad already. I don't feel that Henderson leaving the club is, I mean, his leadership is really good, but to really sit here and say, you know, a club of the size of Liverpool, where we're trying to go, if we're going to miss Henderson, we're not doing something right. You know, I feel that we should have enough, you know, other players in the squad, the Allisons, the Van Dijks, the Robertsons, even the Trents, the Salahs, like these other players are all there. So what will we miss him? Yeah, a little bit, because he's been the captain of that club for God knows how long. But to say we'll miss him so badly, nah, I think he's reached that stage now. You know, most captains at these top clubs, they're usually really, really good. So, you know, Gundogan obviously left last season, Vincent Kompany, but, you know, prior to that, even Aubameyang, even though to the end, he did obviously not really perform, but he was still a good player, you know, overall. And then obviously he left. Most of these guys are really, really good. Ours is really, really shit. So I'm not really that angry that he is going. I think Liverpool fans are just getting a bit too engrossed with the whole he's moving to Saudi and everything behind that. I'm not going to get into that. That's his choice. Let him do what he wants. I don't see what the problem is. You know, everyone wanted these guys to leave. Fabinho, I don't see even the issue with him going. Ultimately, Liverpool need a shakeup. He looks like he's had a year and a half where he has just been declining. I don't want to have to chance that for another 6 months and then decide in 6 months' time in January, maybe Liverpool need a whole, you know, another defensive midfield. No. If we're going to do a rebuild, every Liverpool fan wanted a rebuild. We're getting the rebuild now. We should be ecstatic that we're actually trying to potentially look for new players. Doucoure, no, I'm not spending 70 million on Doucoure. If you're going to do that, just add 30 million and see what Brighton are going to say with Caicedo. If you're going to do things like that, it just doesn't make, you know, any viable sense. There are other players around Europe. There are other players who we could potentially get. Paulinho, way too much money. Liverpool don't have that kind of money to just throw around on one player when we still need defenders, potentially another forward, you know, all of these kind of extra things. For me, I think Liverpool just need to be a bit more smarter, but at the same time, I do think things did happen a little bit suddenly. Ultimately, I don't think they thought Fabinho would just, you know, up and go and we'd get this kind of offer. So maybe that might change in terms of we maybe wanted to get a Lavia in, you know, alongside Fabinho. Guess what? Now you got to get Lavia and someone else. That's all it is, you know, and it's just about picking, you know, the right player. But there's so many players. Like, people keep telling me the DM market is not that good. There's a lot of players. Like, there are a lot of players. It's not hard to find a good, you know, DM out there. And I think we're over analyzing the importance of the leadership that Liverpool are obviously missing heading into next season. Huh?
You say there's a lot of DMs, but the prices of DMs are ridiculous. You know, Zubimendi's been quoted at 60 million. Lavia, who finished bottom of Southampton, has been quoted over 50 million pounds. So yes, there is a lot of DMs there, but it's a lot of money. And one thing we know about Liverpool, they ain't willing to spend a lot of money as of right now.
Yeah, again, you're talking about those ones. Again, I like to call it, they're the hipsters. That's like the hipsters like those kind of players. You know what I mean? The not even the Pellinis, I'll probably say more in the Liverpool kind of fan base. Florentino Luis, you know, is a name that Liverpool fans have been absolutely gagging over. Lavia, another name that Liverpool fans have been gagging over. Before we were looking at players like Gravenberch, Crefton Thuram, all of these players that people probably haven't really watched, seen or whatever, but because we hear that the club has been linked with them, we start to fixate on these type of players. We do it quite a lot with these players. We get fixated on them. And then when we're not looking like we're going to sign them, everyone's like, oh my goodness, this is rubbish. This is poor. Why are we not signing these guys? And I'm like, I mean, first of all, are they that good? I don't think that hardly any of them are actually. You could just go away and do your own research there, but there's so many other midfielders out there who I think could easily come into a team like Liverpool and just be an upgrade on the shit midfield that we've got. It's not hard to come into this midfield and upgrade it. And that's all we're looking for. I think people are looking for, they want Tchouaméni, they want Caicedo, they want Kimmich, they want Ugarte, they want all of these top names, which I'm not saying.
Caicedo is, if you had the money for Caicedo, you could go in there tonight and get the deal done. That's my general.
No. But I'm not saying don't go and get these players or anything like that.
Yeah.
Again, they're top level players. My issue with some of these players is that you're talking about players who are going to cost you all of this money. We have got so many. Like, this team needs an actual rebuild. But we're all laughing at Chelsea. We're all saying, yeah, that's all messy and blah blah blah. Yeah, it might seem messy on the surface of it, but Liverpool's is not that far off. It really isn't. When you actually boil it down, it really isn't that far off. But we get away with it a little bit, maybe so, because we've done a lot better than them recently, and people think we're just going to go bang next season. Everyone's got us predicted third and second and this and whatever. Blah. I'm like, I don't see that. Like, I just don't see how in a universe where that's just generally going to just happen when there are other teams out there who are already on that kind of trajectory. We've got so much to do with aging players in our squad. So we need to make sure the players that we are signing, whether they're for the future, whether they're stopgaps, it doesn't really matter. Just go in and get the right player. Even if you sign a 30-year-old, sign them.
Now, one thing I'll say about stopgaps is we did that when we got rid of Unai Emery, we brought in Socrates, we brought in players like Terrace, we brought in players like Lichtsteiner, and that held us back for Emery for another 3 years. I think if
Terrace wasn't a stopgap. He was like, how old is he at the time? 21, 22?
He was 23, 24 at the time.
Quite young. Yeah, he definitely wasn't a stopgap.
For the rest of the window, getting stopgap players, like the next time we brought David Luiz in, and after that we brought in Pablo Mari to be a stopgap.
Yeah, but I don't think they were stopgaps. I think you can call them stopgaps now that you've moved on from them. But if they'd have worked, then some of them would still be playing for you. Exactly. You guys kind of changed your approach about 3 years ago. We started buying a lot of youngsters, and I think the problem you've got when you just buy a lot of youngsters is hard to win and progress at the same time. You've got to get the mix. If you want to win and progress, you have to mix it up with, like Chelsea. Don mentioned earlier, like Paulinho is too old. I actually think you need a few players to come in that are 26, 27, 28 to help these kids.
I agree with you, Terry. But what it is, how we're going, I know that they're not going to look at that age profile. Is the point?
And what your club is looking to do and what we think it should do are obviously separate conversations. And I think Liverpool have got to get the balance right. If they go and get Lavia now, and they have a Lavia, McAllister, Soboslai midfield, it's highly talented, but it's very inexperienced. And if your whole midfield is inexperienced, you're going to progress. You're going to be a better team. In 2 or 3 years, you could be amazing. But is that going to be a good enough midfield to win the Prem next season? No. In my opinion, the answer is no. When you're up against this Arsenal team, when you're up against this Man City team, if you look at Man United's midfield, by the end of the window could be Amrabat, Casemiro, Bruno, Mount, with backups of Christian Eriksen. Yeah, you can't. That's a hard midfield in terms of quality and ability plus experience. It's so hard to, over a 38-game season, to finish in front of that. So, look, Liverpool, the only thing I would say, like, Liverpool fans should be happy. It looks like they're rebuilding. It's just started a couple of years too late. Like, they should have almost done one of these signings per summer for the last 3 years, additional to what else you've done, and you'd be in such a strong position now.
It's like we're going. Last season we had, like, you saw obviously Thiago, you got Fabinho, you got Jordan Henderson, obviously 3 players who are aging. Naby Keita can't stay fit. Oxlade-Chamberlain can't stay fit. James Milner, he's 100. Like, that's the type of midfield that we were working with last season. Now we seem like we're trying to flip it, and it's like, okay, I think Szoboszlai is 22, McAllister, I believe, is like 24. Then you're looking at Lavia. As you said, there's no experience in that midfield. That midfield is not winning you anything. It's, as you said, it's talented on the eye. If it was playing FIFA, that might look great, but you're talking about playing Premier League and trying to win things. No way. It's not even close. That midfield gets you top 4 if you're lucky. And that's where the issue for me always comes in, is that then you want to add Lavia, then you want to add Kefa and Thuram. So you want to just add more inexperience to the midfield on top of still having Curtis Jones, Harvey, all inexperienced mixed in with Thiago, who doesn't play. I'm like, is any of it really making sense? As Terry just said there, like, it would make more sense really if you did go out and get a Palhinha or someone of that kind of ilk, alongside these other guys, just for that tiny bit of experience. But at the same time, if they're not out there, just get the guy that you think is right. Right now, I'm not even fussed, but I'm not trying to hear that we're going to lose, obviously, those 2 players. Forget what they even add in terms of their leadership. Just 2 players, because we need players because of the way Klopp plays. We just need bodies, but we need quality in those bodies. So it might be difficult in that sense.
I agree. It's going to be very interesting to watch. It's so hard to talk about Liverpool in the summer, though, because there's so little news that comes out. It's kind of hard to kind of touch on. It says here, would Liverpool be happy with Amrabat and Lavia? Would you be happy if you sign Amrabat and Lavia?
That would be good.
That's perfect.
I wouldn't because I want Amrabat at Man
You're
United.
wrong.
But yeah,
Amrabat.
Amrabat is top quality. Amrabat is he's available for about
It-
25
it-
million
it-
pounds. Ridiculous.
It just depends, like, on what your expectations are. Like, okay, if you ask me, okay, would I take that into the league and then expect to win the league? Hell no. Those two are not winning you anything. But if you ask me if I just would take that because I would just take that, they're just better than what we've got, then yeah, I would take that. But there's better DMs than
Amrabat and
Amrabat.
Lavia over Fabinho. You don't think that's improving?
Staffy, they're just an upgrade, but just being an upgrade isn't enough for me. Like, the upgrade isn't hard to do, is the point I'm trying to make. Like, it's not difficult for you to just be an upgrade over Fabinho right now. Most players are kind of looking like an upgrade, and that's what Amrabat is to me. He's not that great. I know Terry says he's top club. I don't think he's that good. He's okay, but he's probably just a bit better than a Fabinho. And really and truly, I reckon if they both played this season in the same league, I reckon they both have the same kind of impact and the same kind of performances. I don't think he's that great. And Lavia is an unknown. So even though I do like Lavia quite a lot, but he's an unknown.
Yeah, for me, I just always go back to Paulinho, man. And I even said this to Tom the other day.
Yeah, I like it.
I go back to that first game last season when you played Fulham and he just bossed your midfield.
I can't believe
man.
no one's in for him. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Like before we even
No, but there's a
signed
reason
Casemiro-
behind that. There's a reason.
Bro, before we signed Casemiro, I used to rate him so highly.
West Ham are about to put their second
but
bid
they-
in for Paulinho.
But they put 40 million, no?
Who?
West
West
Ham.
Ham are going to put a
No, for
second
who?
bid
For
in.
who?
For
Paulinho.
Paulinho.
Right. How much are they trying to get him for?
They
They had a bid of 40 million. They're going to come back in again. So, but obviously, West Ham are in a difficult situation. Everyone knows they've got 105 million pounds.
Yeah, for real.
Everyone has money.
Scott
Neil here
McTominay, guys. Scott
Yeah,
McTominay.
Neil here says, do you think Luis Diaz will return to form? Is there a contingency if he doesn't?
They're gonna hate me regardless. So I'll just say it. I don't rate him that highly anyway. So whether he does or not, he's not gonna start the league. In my opinion, Liverpool look better without him. But he's a sick player to have as an alternative in other games. But if you ask me, yeah, would you start first game of the season against Chelsea? Hell no. Like, he's definitely not. Him and Nunes don't start. But if you ask me, yo, in some games you're playing Brentford, you're playing them type of team, yeah, bring him on. Late in games, yeah, he all them flicks over their heads and that looks cute in futsal, but with real football, nah. You know.
I hear you
I was
on
say
that.
this about Liverpool. Do you feel like your window of opportunity to capitalize on the Mo Salahs, the Van Dijks, and the Alissons, these world-class players, is gone, or do you think you could somewhat salvage that with a move or two? Because I look at this Liverpool team and I see I know it's not basketball, but I feel like your championship window is finished.
Yeah, I'll be real with you. Klopp contract ends in 2026. I'm going to say he will not win another Premier League. And if he does, it might be just one in his last season. But I don't see anything outside of that. I think that window, as you said, is closed, man. All these other teams, Arsenal came out of nowhere and they're just building. And their players are so young. It's not even like you've got 35-year-old, 33-year-olds just sitting. Your players are young. Manchester City will always be Manchester City. Manchester United will obviously inevitably get better. Chelsea have got such a young squad, but they will inevitably keep getting better and better, and they'll reach that point. Newcastle, unknown quantity. Aston Villa look like there's too many teams around us now. This isn't 18, 19, 20, 2021 when it was just us and City. Everyone else was out there doing nothing.
Liverpool's time will come again, but there's one club I look at that
Possibly,
I see them, there's no chance of them coming back to the top, and that's Tottenham. That's it. I think Liverpool will come back next year.
You had to put that one in.
Yeah, I think their time is definitely gone. We're gonna